Chapter 12. Revelation 12. Book Apocalypse revealed. Revelation 12. And a great sign was seen in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet. Clothes. Clothed or clothes? How to pronounce?
Clothed.
Clothed. Clothes. Clothes. Clothes.
Clothed.
Clothes. Clothed. 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 Like a woman clothed with the sun, clothed. And a great sign was seen in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And being with child, she cried, traveling and playing to bring paint. And being with child, she cried, travailing. What is this? And pained.
Travailing.
Travailing like give birth. Giving birth. And being with child, she cried, travailing and pained to bring forth. And another sign was seen in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his heads 7 diadems. 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 Diadems.
Diadems.
Diadems. Diadems.
Diadems.
Had 7 diadems. And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to bring forth, that after she had brought forth, he might devour her offspring. And she brought forth a son, a male. Brought forth like to give birth. Brought forth.
She brought forth a
Yeah, bringing forth like giving birth. Brought forth. And she brought forth a son, a male, who was to tend all nations with a rod of iron. And her offspring was caught up into God and his throne. And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared by God, that they may nourish her there 1,260 days. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon fought and his angels. And they prevailed not. And the place was not found any more in heaven. And that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, that seduceth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Seduceth.
seduce.
Seduce. Seduce. Seduce. Seduce. That seduce, like tempted. That seduce the whole world he was cast out into the heavens, subdueth the whole world he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a great voice, in heaven saying, Now is come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, that accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him through the blood of the Lamb and through the word of their testimony. And they loved not their soul even unto death. For this rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to those that inhabit the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great anger, knowing that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman that brought forth the son. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time, and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a river after the woman, that he might cause her to be swallowed up by the river. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the river which the dragon cast out of his mouth. And the dragon was angry with the woman, and went away to make war with the rest of her seed, that keep the commandments of God, and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. And I stood upon the stand of the sea, and I stood upon the sand of the sea. The spiritual sense, the contents of the whole chapter. It treats here of the new church and its doctrine. By the woman is here meant the new church, and by the offspring which she brought forth its doctrine. And it also treats of those in the present church who from doctrine believe in a trinity of persons and in the duality of the person of Christ, likewise in justification by faith alone. These are meant by the dragon. Then it treats of the persecution of the new church by this, on account of its doctrine and its protection by the Lord, until from a few it increases among many. The contents of each verse. Verse 1. And a great sign was seen in heaven, signifies revelation from the Lord concerning his new church in the heavens and on earth, and concerning the difficult reception of and resistance of its doctrine. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet signifies the Lord's new church in the heavens, which is the new heaven, and the Lord's new church about to be upon earth, which is the new Jerusalem, and upon the head of crown, upon the head of a crown of 12 stars signifies its wisdom and intelligence from the knowledges of divine good and divine truth from the word. Verse 2. And being with child, she cried, travailing and pain to bring forth, signifies the doctrine of the new church about to come forth, and its difficult reception on account of the resistance by those who are meant by the dragon. Verse 3. And another sign was seen in heaven, signifies revelation from the Lord concerning those who are against the new church and its doctrine. And behold, a great red dragon signifies those in the church of the Reformed, who make God three and the Lord two, and who separate charity from faith and make faith saving and not charity at the same time. Having 7 heads signifies insanity from the truth of the word falsified and profaned, and 10 horns signifies much power, and upon his head 7 diadems signifies all the truth of the word falsified and profaned. Verse 4, and his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and cast them to the earth, signifies that by falsifications of the truth of the word they have alienated all spiritual knowledges of good and truth from the church, and by applications to falsities have entirely destroyed them. And the dragon stood before the woman who was about to bring forth, that after she had brought forth he might devour her offspring, signifies that they who are meant by the dragon will endeavor
Endeavor.
endeavor like effort, creation,
Effort.
effort will endeavor to distinguish the doctrine of the new church at its first appearance. Verse 5, and she brought forth a son, a male, signifies the doctrine of the new church, who was to tempt all nations with the rod of fire, and signifies which by truth from the literal sense of the word, and at the same time by rational things from natural light, will convince all who are in that worship from faith separated from charity, that are willing to be convinced. And her offspring was caught up into God and his throne, signifies the protection of the doctrine by the Lord and its being guarded by the angels of heaven. Verse 6, and the woman fled into the wilderness, signifies the church at first among a few, where she had a place prepared by God, that they may nourish her there 1,260 days, signifies the state of the church then, that meanwhile provision is making for its increase among many until it arrives at its full growth. Verse 7, and there was a war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with the dragon, and the dragon fought, and his angel signifies the falsities of the former church, fighting against the truth of the new church. Verse 8, and they prevailed not, and the place was not found any more in heaven, signifies that they were convinced of being in falsities and evils, but still they remained in them, and that therefore they were torn away from conjunction with heaven and cast down. Verse 9, and that great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, signifies this turning from the Lord to themselves and from heaven to the world, and thence coming into the evils of their lusts and into falsities that seduce the whole world, signifies that they pervert all things of the church. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels with him, signifies into the world of spirits, which is intermediate between heaven and hell, from whence there is immediate conjunction with men upon earth. Verse 10, and I heard a great voice in heaven saying, now is come the salvation and the power and the kingdom of our God and the authority of his Christ, signifies the joy of the angels of heaven, because the Lord alone now reigns in heaven and in the church, and that they are saved who believe in him. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, that accused them before our God day and night, signifies that by the last judgment they are removed who opposed the doctrine of the new church. Verse 11, and they overcame him through the blood of the Lamb and through the words of their testimony. Signifies victory by the divine truth of the word and by the acknowledgement of the Lord. And they loved not their soul even unto death, signifies who did not love themselves more than the Lord. Verse 11. For this rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them, signifies a new state of heaven, that they are in the Lord, and the Lord in them. Woe to those that inhabit the earth and the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great anger, signifies lamentation over those in the church who are in the falsities of faith, and thence in evils of life, because they are in conjunction with the dragon, knowing that he hath but a short time, signifies because he knows that the new heaven is formed, and that thus there is about to be the new church upon earth, and that then he with his like will be cast into hell. Verse 13. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman that brought forth the son, signifies that the dragonists in the world of spirits immediately upon their being thrust down began to infest the new church on account of its doctrine. Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place. Signifies, sorry, do you want to say something?
Hate little kids, bro.
Sorry, I don't understand. Okay. If someone wants to read too, you can read next. Next verse, next chapter, because it's like short explanation of this chapter. Verse 14. And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, signifies the divine circumspection. What is circumspection? Circumspection, like
Circumspection.
It's like prudence. Circumspection. Circumspection over the church and its protection while as yet confined to a few, where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent, signifies that by reason of the craftiness of seducers, provision is made with circumspection, that its numbers may increase until it comes to its full growth. Verse 15. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a river after the woman, that he might cause her to be swallowed up by the river, signifies reasonings from falsities in abundance to destroy the church. Verse 16. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth, and swallowed up the river, which the dragon cast out of his mouth, signifies that those reasonings in all their abundance fall to nothing before the spiritual truth rationally understood, which the Michaels of whom the new church consists bring forward. Verse 17. And the dragon was angry with the woman and went away to make war with the rest of his seed, and that kept the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ, signifies hatred kindled in those who think themselves wise from their confirmations of the mystical union of the divine and the human in the Lord, and of justification by faith alone, against those who acknowledge the Lord alone as the God of heaven and earth, and that the Decalogue is the law of life, and the assaults on novitiates. What is this? Novitiates.
Novitiates.
Novitiates. Novitiates. Novitiates. Novitiates. I cannot explain it. Novitiates, with the intent to seduce them. Verse 18. And I stood upon the sand of the sea signifies his state, now spiritual, natural. The original Latin omits cast out. Revelation 12:1. Maybe someone wants to read this inner meaning of verse 1. This. Okay, verse 1. And a great sign was seen in heaven, signifies revelation from the Lord.
Russian.
I know Russian, but I don't say who I am because I don't
Sounds
represent.
super Eastern European.
I don't represent myself, but I represent this book I read and the writer, the author
Why is
of
your
this
name
book.
Swedenborg?
Yeah, it's the writer of this book. Do you see? It's Apocalypse Revealed book by Emmanuel Swedenborg. He's a writer.
You know, he
And
was Swedish, right?
Yeah, and he lived in England, and he wrote his books in England. This book is about spiritual meaning of the Bible, the book of Revelation. Swedenborg is very, he's a genius and he is very wise and smart person.
Yeah. He's Swedish.
Yeah, he was scientist in Sweden, and he has in history. His IQ is 206, and his books are very smart and wise. Because I believe if I read wise and smart books, I will be more smart and wise too. You can read, and you can judge, because it is impossible to write this book without influence of God, like this.
No, I read a little bit about him in school.
But what about his books? Have you read?
I don't remember everything. I know we have gone through some of it. This was years ago.
It means you didn't understand his books, yeah? Because if you would understand his books, you would remember,
right?
Yeah,
it's Christianity, right? It's boring, you know. Who cares about Christianity?
No, it's not about Christianity. Actually, it's about how can we make the world a better place, because it's about spiritual meaning.
Conclusion.
Conclusion, it's about this book is about building an ideal just society on the earth as it is in heaven, because heaven is like the kingdom of God. Heaven is like an ideal just society, like perfect society, and we can build that perfect society here on earth concerning heavenly model and prototype. if you
probably
understand
could,
how it
but
works.
people are stupid, you know.
Yeah, the understanding of books of Swedenborg depends from your level of IQ. Like IQ, it depends from your intelligence and
But I'm
intellect.
just saying, right? If you're gonna build this utopia, this society on Earth, you need people that are like-minded. I would argue.
Of course, and books of Swedenborg are that teaching and doctrine that can unite Christians into one, because Christian church is divided by different doctrines and teachings, and only spiritual meaning of the Bible can unite God's church, and the world can believe that the Christian church is God Himself, and
Wasn't he Protestant? No.
no, because Protestants are about the teaching of Protestants is about justification by faith alone, and this is a false
Yeah, but
doctrine.
wasn't Swedenborg Protestant?
No, he he was a monotheist who believed that there is one and only one God named Jesus Christ. But Protestants believe in three persons of God, like God Father, God Son, and God Holy Spirit.
The Holy Spirit.
Yeah, and they understand that persons as three different persons, and this is paganism, like polytheism, yeah, paganism. That because Protestants are wrong in that understanding. Actually,
I mean,
Emperor.
Protestants do call the pagans by Catholics and Orthodox.
Sorry, say that again. I didn't catch.
Protestants, they're seen as pagans in a way by Catholics and Orthodox.
Yeah.
A lot of people would argue that Protestantism is not real Christianity.
Because they believe in justification by faith alone, and without our good deeds. But we should have faith plus good charity and mercy as good deeds. But Protestants believe that we are saved only by faith alone and without good deeds.
Yeah, that's why the Swedish kings went to Germany and kicked out the Catholics.
Yeah. Actually, we can read together and we can talk about this book. If you have any comments, and maybe if you want to read, you can read next verse. We read verse by verse here, but this is this is an explanation. Okay. Okay. Verse 1. And a great sign was seen in heaven. Signifies revelation from the Lord concerning His new church in the heavens and on earth, and concerning the difficult reception and resistance to its doctrine. By a sign from heaven is here meant a revelation concerning things to come, and by a great sign seen in heaven is meant a revelation concerning the new church. For the woman clothed with the sun, which is the subject treated of in this chapter, signifies the church. The male which she brought forth signifies its doctrine. Because everything is about doctrines in the Bible. Because the male which she brought forth signifies its doctrine. Her being pained to bring forth signifies its difficult reception. It's a new teaching about new church. It's about spiritual meaning of the Bible, and Swedenborg writes that it signifies its difficult reception. Because we see her being pained to bring forth signifies its difficult reception. The dragon desiring to devour the male, and afterward he persecuted the woman, signifies the resistance so it meets with. These things are meant by a great sign was seen in heaven. A sign is mentioned in the word of things to come, and then it is revelation. It is also spoken of truth, and then it is testification. And it is also spoken of the quality of any state of thing, and then it is manifestation. A sign is spoken of things to come, and then it is revelation in the following passages. They shall tell you what that we may know the end, or make you hear things to come, show signs of the future. The disciples said unto Jesus, what shall be the sign of thy coming and of the consummation of the age? Matthew 24:3, Mark 13:4, Luke 21:7. There shall be signs from heaven and signs on the sun, the moon, and the stars. Luke 21:11-25. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man. Matthew 24:30. It was said unto King Hezekiah, this shall be a sign unto thee that Jehovah will do this thing. The shadow on the degrees of Ahaz shall be brought back. Afterwards Hezekiah said, what is the sign that I shall go up into the house of Jehovah? Isaiah 38, and in other places. That a sign is said. Yeah, this is about meaning of sign. Yeah. Yeah, it's about sign. What is sign? That a sign is said of truth, and then it is testification, and also it is said of the quality of any state, and then it is manifestation is evident from other passages in the word. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet signifies the Lord's new church in the heavens, which is the new heaven, and the Lord's new church about to be upon earth, which is the new Jerusalem. The Lord's new church is signified by this woman is evident from the particular in this chapter understood in the spiritual sense.
I got a question.
Go ahead.
Imagine being gay and a nigger. Think about it. Imagine both fucking factors. Boom, smashing together.
Sorry, I don't understand what you mean, because I'm reading the book.
Okay.
Once again, the Lord's new church. That a sign is said of truth, and then it is testification, and also it is said of the quality of any state, and then it is manifestation is evident from other passages in the word. Sign is said of truth, and then it is testification, and also it is said of the quality of any state, and then it is manifestation is evident from other passages. It means that sign is about quality of any state. Like state of mind. A woman clothed with the sun, clothed. A woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet signifies the Lord's new church in the heavens, which is the new heaven, and the Lord's new church about to be upon earth, which is the new Jerusalem. That the Lord's new church is signified by the woman, is evident from the particulars in this chapter understood in the spiritual sense, that by woman in other parts of the world also the church is signified, may be seen, and the church is signified because the church is called the bride and wife of the Lord. Bride and wife. The reason why she was seen clothed with the Son is because the church is in love to the Lord, for it acknowledges Him and does His commandments. And this is to love Him. John 14. That the Son signifies love. The reason why the moon was seen under the woman's feet is because the church on earth, which is not yet conjoined with the church in the heavens, is meant. By the moon is signified intelligence in the natural man and faith, and by being seen under the feet is signified that it is about to be upon earth. Otherwise, by feet is signified the church itself when it is conjoined. It is to be known that there is a church in the heavens as well as on earth, for there also is the word, where are temples also and preachings in them, and there are ministerial and priestly offices.
Ministerial.
Ministerial. And there are ministerial and priestly offices. Priestly. Like priestly.
Priestly.
Priestly offices. For all angels they were men, and the departure out of the world was only a continuation of their life. Therefore they are also perfected in love and wisdom, everyone according to the degree of the affection of truth and good which he took with him out of the world. The church among them is here meant by the woman clothed with the Son, who had upon her head a crown of 12 stars. But because the church in the heavens cannot subsist like exist, dwell, subsist, except there be also a church on earth. Once again, but because the church in the heavens cannot subsist, except there be also a church on earth. Yeah, I understand it like angels work on earth. Because here it is their work, because it's about harvest. They are planting in the field, in the fields, and they harvest. They reap the wheat into heavenly stores. Except there be also a church on earth. Yeah, and the angels are fishers, like fishermen too, and they fish. They catch fish, and they catch man. Jesus said, "You will catch man." It means you will be angels, because to catch man is the serving of angels. Except there be also a church on earth which is in concordant love and wisdom. Concordant. What is concordant? Concordant love.
Concordant.
Like compatible. Concordant. Consonant.
Consonant.
consonant, concordant, love, and wisdom. And tells this about church on earth, which is in concordant love and wisdom. And tells this was about to be, therefore, the moon was seen under the feet of the woman, which here specifically signifies faith, by which, such as it is at this day, there is no conjunction. Was seen under the feet of the moon. Therefore, the moon was seen under the feet of the woman, which here specifically signifies faith, by which, such as it is at this day, there is no conjunction. The reason why the church cannot subsist in the heavens unless there is a church on earth. Once again, the reason why the church cannot subsist in the heavens unless there is a church on earth in conjunction with it is because heaven, where angels are, and the church, where men are, act as one, like the internal and the external with man. And the internal with man cannot subsist with its state unless an external be conjoined with it. For an internal without an external is like a house without a foundation, or like seed upon the ground and not in the ground. Thus, like anything about roots in a word, like a cause without an effect in which it may exist. From these things, for an external without an external is like a house without a foundation, or like seen upon the ground and not in the ground. Thus, like anything without a root in a word, like a cause without an effect in which it may exist. Once again, for an internal without an external is like a house without a foundation, or like seed upon the ground and not in the ground. Seed upon the ground and not in the ground. Thus, like anything without a root in a word, like a cause without an effect in which it may exist. From these things it may be seen how absolutely necessary it is that there should be a church somewhere. In the world where the word is, and where by it the Lord is known. And upon her head a crown of 12 stars signifies its wisdom and intelligence, for knowledges of divine good and divine truth from the word. By the crown upon the head is signified wisdom and intelligence. By stars are signified the knowledges of divine good and divine truth from the word. And by 12 are signified all things of the church which have relation to its good and truth. Consequently, by a crown of 12 stars on the woman's head is signified the wisdom and intelligence of the new church from the knowledges of divine good and divine truth from the word. Verse 2. And being with child, she cried, travailing, and pain to bring forth, signifies the nascent doctrine of the
Nascent.
like formed. New, nascent signifies the nascent doctrine of the new church and its difficult reception on account of the resistance by those who are mentored by the dragon. To be with child signifies the nascent doctrine, because by the offspring which was in the womb, whose birth is treated of in verse 5, is signified the doctrine of the new church, for nothing else is signified by being with child. In travail and bringing forth in the spiritual sense of the word, then to conceive and bring forth those things which are of spiritual life, concerning which presently by she cried travailing and pain to bring forth is signified the difficult reception of the doctrine because of resistance by those who are meant by the dragon. This is plain from what follows in this chapter, as that the dragon stood before the woman about to bring forth, that he might devour her offspring, and afterwards he pursued her into the wilderness, that by being with child travailing and bringing forth nothing else is signified in the word appears from the following passages. Is signified in the word appears from the following passages. Jesus said, except one be born again, he cannot enter into the kingdom of God. That which is born of the flesh is flesh, but that which is born of the Spirit is spirit. John 3:3. Sing, O barren, thou that didst not bear, shout, thou that didst not travail, for more are the sons of the desolate than the sons of the married. Isaiah 54:1. They have ceased until the barren hath borne 7, and she that hath many children lacketh. First Samuel 2.
Lacketh.
Like lacks, lacketh. By the barren signified the Gentiles, who had no genuine fruits, because they had not the word. By the marriage and she that hath many children are signified the Jews who had the word. She that hath borne 7 languisheth, she hath breathed out her soul. Jeremiah 59. Languisheth.
Languisheth.
Languisheth. Languisheth. She that hath borne 7 languisheth. She hath breathed out her soul. What it means? She that hath borne 7 languisheth. She hath breathed out her soul. Speaking also of the Jews, we have conceived, we have travailed, we have as it were brought forth wind, we have not wrought and deliverance in the earth. What is this?
Reet.
Like rot. Deformable. Deformable, like rot. and deliverance the earth, in the earth. Before she travailed, she brought forth. Before her pain came, she was delivered of a male. Hath the earth travailed? In one day shall a nation be born at once. Shall I break and not bring forth, and cause to be generated and shut? Isaiah 66. Thou travailest, O earth, before the Lord, before the God of Jacob. It's about earth. Like the earth, like any living person, because earth is alive in the Bible, and this is not the earth. This is the church on the earth. Thou travailest, O earth, before the Lord, before the God of Jacob. Alas, this day sons have come to the mouth of the matrix, and there is no strength to bring forth. Mouth of the matrix.
Matrix.
Matrix. And there is no strength to bring forth. Matrix. As if you see KGV. No, if you see NIV. Isaiah 37. Isaiah 37. Ah, 30. 37:3. They told him, this is what Hezekiah says. This day is a day of distress and rebuke and disgrace, as when children come to the point of birth, there is no strength to deliver them. I don't know. They told him. Thirty 37. The 37:3. This day sons have come to the mouth of the matrix. This day is a day of distress and rebuke and disgrace, and when children come to the point of birth, there is no strength to deliver them. Come to the point of birth. Sons have come to the mouth of the matrix. There is no strength to bring forth. Indeed, this is not the KGV. Okay. Sin shall travail. And there is no it's about traveling before giving birth. This day sons have come to the mouth of the matrix, and there is no strength to bring forth. Sin shall travail and no shall be forth a breaking through. Sin shall travail, and no shall be for a breaking through. I have heard the voice of the sick as of her that travaileth, 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 travaileth.
Travaileth.
Travaileth, travaileth with her firstborn. The voice of the daughter of Zion. She sighs, she spreadeth her hands. Woe is me, my soul is sighs.
Sighs.
Sighs. My soul is weird because of slayers. Slayers. Slay.
Slayers.
Killers, like slayers. Jeremiah 4. Pangs and sorrows take hold. They travail like one bringing forth. Isaiah 13:8. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up. The iniquity of Ephraim is bound up. The pains of one in travail shall come upon him. He is a son not wise, for he stayeth not the time in the womb of sons. Isaiah 13:12. Ephraim, thy glory shall fly away like a bird. From the birth, and from the belly, and from conception give them, O Jehovah, a miscarrying womb, and dry breasts, even when they have begotten. I will slay the desires of their belly. Hosea 9. In these passages also is described the difficulty of receiving the truth of the doctrine from the word, by many things relating to pain in bringing forth, and in like manner in many other places. Moreover, Jehovah, that is, the Lord, is called the former from the womb, and by former from the womb is meant the reformer.